Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me. My name is Jonathan Popan. I am the Director of Technology here at PaintFlow. Really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to spend with me to learn more about our product. PaintFlow is a revolutionary mobile app that is designed for the residential painting industry. It allows painters to manage their clients, their projects, proposals, change orders, work orders, etc., all in one place. And the best part is it is absolutely free for you to use. We'll talk more about that and how that's possible in a few minutes. Before we begin, let me point you to our website. Go to www.paintflowapp.com. There you can learn more about the tool, and you will also be able to find links to the Google Play and the Apple App Store where you can download the PaintFlow app for free. So, without further ado, let's get started exploring with PaintFlow. Let's begin by launching the PaintFlow app. I will tap on the icon here, and in a moment the app will open. If you have not registered for a PaintFlow account, first thing you need to do is to sign up. So if you will tap here where it says sign up, then enter in your first and last name, the name of your business, your email address, your password, and your phone number. Now, the password should be something that is easy for you to remember, and I do recommend that you document it somewhere, either in a password manager or even just a personal note that you save on your phone. If you do forget your password, we are, of course, happy to help you get it reset. All you have to do is reach out to us via email at help@paintflowapp.com, and we'll take care of you. But once you fill this out and you click the agree and continue button, then you will be redirected to the login screen. And once your account is created, you can then log in. So I will log in. I'm going to be adopting the persona of Joe, the painter. All right, got my password entered there. I'm going to log in. And immediately we are brought into the PaintFlow interface. Now, this is a very simple and easy to use interface. There's not a lot of options here, so it makes it very easy to use. Let's start here with the settings gear. I'm going to tap on that, and then here I'm going to tap on company profile. This is where you can add information about your business. It's important to know that this information will appear on your proposals. So you want to be sure to enter it in correctly. The first thing that you can do is add a logo. If you tap here on the Upload Logo button, then you'll be able to select a photo or image from your gallery to serve as your logo. Enter in the name of your business, your phone number, and the address of your website. Then you have an opportunity here to add even more personalization. You can upload a headshot so your customer knows who they are dealing with. And you have an area here where you can include a description about your business. So this is a great place to mention things like how long you've been in business, if you are insured and bonded, things of that note, of that nature, things that you want your customer to know. Once you've entered this information, click Save, and then that will be updated. And so we will then be able to see that information on our proposals. The next thing to do is to integrate your PaintFlow account with Stripe. The first thing you want to do before starting this process in PaintFlow is to create a free Stripe account. So you will go to the Stripe website, you will register for a new account. If you are an independent, you're not an LLC, they will ask for your social security number and your driver's license. They'll walk you through how you can provide all that information to them. If you are an LLC, then they will ask for your tax ID. But once you have created the Stripe account, then come back here into PaintFlow, go to the gear, and click on Banking Setup. Now, I have already done that in this particular account, so I can't demonstrate that. But when you click on Banking Setup, you'll be directed to where you can log in to your Stripe account. When you do, that will connect Stripe with PaintFlow. And that is important because that is how you get paid. So your customers will make payments online that are processed through our Stripe portal. We take care of that for you. And then when we receive the money from the client, we push that money through Stripe directly into your bank account. So you get paid very quickly. You don't have to run around collecting checks from anyone and then drive to the bank. All of this can be done very conveniently online. It's convenient for you, it's convenient for your customers, and everyone is happy. So once you do those things, then you're ready to move into the next phase, which we'll talk about next. So now that we have created our PaintFlow account, we have set up our company profile, we have integrated our Stripe account with PaintFlow, then we are now ready to go. So when you log in to PaintFlow, you will start out on the Clients tab. And here you can see I have a number of clients that I have added into PaintFlow. These are arranged in alphabetical order by last name. If a customer has a business name associated with them, that will also be listed here on this screen. Note these little handy buttons. These allow you to quickly send an email, make a phone call, or send a text message directly to your customer. Let's click here and let's take a look at the details for Martin Bridger. So when you click through to a client, if you have any projects that you are doing or have done for them, they will appear as tiles here at the top. Then we can see all of the information that we have recorded for this client here, such as their email, their phone number, whether they're a property owner or a contractor, the address, very often this is their site address, and how they heard about you. If you need to make any changes to that, click on the pencil, come in here, make the correction, like maybe the last digit of the phone number should be a 6 instead of a 9 there. I'll make that correction and I'll scroll down and click Save Client. Now, you will need to add a client before you can create your first project. So to do that, you will come to the Clients tab and click on the Add button. This brings up a form where you can enter all of the contact and important information about the client. Note that the first name, last name, and email address fields are required, so you can't create a client without those three pieces of information. All of the other stuff is optional, but I do recommend that you update it because this will give you a comprehensive listing for the client and you'll have all of the information directly at your fingertips. At the very bottom, there's even a field where you can write down how this particular customer came to you. So maybe they responded to a ad on Facebook, or maybe you put a door hanger out, or even they heard about you from someone that you've already done business for and they referred you to them. So you can make a note here about that. And then when you're done, click Save Client. The new client will now appear here on our screen. So once we have our client in the system, then we're ready to begin building out a project for them. Let's now switch over to the Projects tab. When we click here, you will see all of your projects listed, and there are several that I have here. Note that there are different statuses, and we'll talk more about what those are and what they represent as we go through this particular section. Let's start by creating a new project. So to do that, we need to be on the Projects tab and then click the Add Project button. The first thing we're asked to do is to pick a cover photo. Now, the cover photo is going to appear at the top of your proposal. And we do recommend that you add a photo of the customer's property. So let's say that you're painting their house. So let's put a picture of their house there. I'll tap on the Pick a Cover Photo, and then I'm given the option of either selecting an image from my gallery on my phone or using my camera on the phone to take a picture. So if the customer has sent you photos, you save them into your gallery, you can add them from there. Or if you're at the job site, you can snap a quick picture with your camera and add it to the project at the same time. In this case, I have some photos already on my phone, so I'm going to choose Gallery, and we're going to be painting on this home here. So I will pick that as my cover image. Now, it's important to understand how this affects your customer psychologically. They like seeing themselves, they like seeing their name, they like seeing their photos. So, by putting a picture of their house at the very top of your proposal, it makes it prominent. They're going to respond very well to that. The next thing we need to do is to give our project a name, and you want this to be clear and meaningful. It's also important to remember this is customer facing, so you want to be sure to use something that is appropriate. So we're going to be painting the exterior of this house. So I am going to call this home exterior. So that's very clear what we're doing here on this project. Then we have to identify who the project is for. So I will click here, and then I have the option of picking a client from the list here. This is why we need to add a client before we open a project for them. So let's say our client here is Philip Hosgrove. Then we specify who the decision maker is. Now, the decision maker is the person that you can contact and get an answer as to yes or no about a specific detail of the job. Sometimes this can be a contractor, or maybe you are working directly with the property owner. But in either case, you want to specify who that decision maker is. In this case, we're going to be working directly with the homeowner, so we will put their name in both fields. Scroll down a little further, and here we have a handy button where we can click and we can copy over the details of the address from the client's record. So if we are painting their home, for example, and we've already recorded their address in the client record, we don't have to enter it again. Just tap that button and it will bring over for you automatically. Down a little further, we have a box here for address notes. Now, this is a great way for you to note specific things maybe that you need to know or that your crew needs to know before you show up on the job site. So let's say that the customer has dogs and you need to call them before you arrive so that they can kennel their dogs. Or maybe they don't want your crew parking in their driveway and they want you to park on the street instead. We can document that here. Now, this will appear both on the um, proposal and the work order. So we'll type in some notes here. Let's say park on the street, not in the driveway. All right. Go down a little further, and we're going to document the year that the property was built. So let's say that this property was built in 1970, whoops, not 1677, 1977. Now, the reason that we're including this information is because of the issue of lead paint. Lead paint was outlawed in the United States in 1978. So houses that were built in 1978 or prior need to be tested to make sure that lead paint is not there, or at least we know that there is so that we can take appropriate action. So if the property was built before 1978, this box will appear, and then you can note whether or not it's been tested, and if it has been tested, whether it tested negative or positive for lead. So in this case, we're going to say, yes, it has been tested. It did come back negative. So we don't have a concern there about lead paint contamination. Property status allows us to know whether the property is vacant or occupied. In this case, it is occupied, so I will note that. And then we can optionally indicate whether the house is being prepared for sale or being prepared for someone to move in. In this particular situation, neither applies, so I'm not going to tap those selections. Timeline. This is where we can give the customer an expectation as to when their painting project will take place. Note that we're not providing them with a specific date. That is very important in setting the customer's expectations. What we can do instead is say, okay, we can put you on our calendar in May, and that this will take 1 to 3 working days. So this sets the expectation so they know it will happen sometime in May, and that it will take you between 1 and 3 days to complete the job. The date of the work, as you know, can change depending upon the weather or other conditions. So we don't want at this particular moment in time to make a promise for a date and then not be able to meet that. So this is a way of setting a timeline and setting an expectation with the customer. Now we have project notes. Again, remember, this is client facing. It will appear on the proposal. But this is where you can jot down notes about the project overall. All right, so you have up to 900 characters. That includes spaces, by the way, that you can add into this field. Again, customer facing, so you want it to be professional, and you want to make sure, for example, that everything is spelled correctly, that there's no grammatical errors, etc. Once you enter this information, click the Save Project button. So we have now created the shell of our project, and it is in the build project phase. When a job is, or a project rather, is in the build project phase, this means that it has not yet been approved by the client. So let's tap into our project, and you can see the cover image, the project name. You can see the notes you added. You can see all of the details that we listed when we created the project. So now we are ready to move on to the next phase by specifying exactly what it is we're going to paint. Now we're ready to add items to our project. Items are different components, different parts of the structure that we're going to paint. You can add as many items as you want, but you have to have at least one. In this case, we're going to be painting the exterior. So I'm going to tap here for Add Item, and note this important information here. The way that PaintFlow works and how it is made free for you is that a service charge is added and is charged to the customer. So a small service fee is added on top of the amount that you are quoting the customer and are going to charge the customer for the job. So that is how that PaintFlow is able to bring in revenue and continue making this application free for you. So the cost is passed on to your customer, but it is transparent to them. They do not see it as a separate line item, so you shouldn't expect pushback. So you can tap close, or if you don't want this to appear again, tap the don't show again button. So now we're going to add an item, i.e. an area that we're going to paint. I am going to call this home exterior. Again, customer facing, you want to make sure that it is appropriate, spelled properly, etc. Now we have to choose the item type. Now this is very important because the type that you select determines your options for substrates. In this case, it is the exterior, so I'm going to choose exterior. And then I'm going to tap here to expand out substrates. Substrates are the surfaces that you paint. And the way that you enable a surface to be added to the proposal is through activating this slider here. So we are going to be painting the walls on the outside of the house. So I will enable body. And then I am able to enter in the line item cost for that part of the job. So let's say it's going to be $5,000 for us to paint the body. Note that the fee is calculated for you automatically. Base trim, we're going to be painting that. That's going to be another, let's say, $600. And then you can continue to go through. So if you're going to paint things like windows and window trim, etc., and let's put in some amounts for those. So 400 for that. So you just go through and you enable the surfaces that you're going to paint. And then you come down to the next section, which is materials. And I'll expand this area out. And this is where you can enter in the names of the products that you're going to use. So you could enter in the primer name. I'm just going to put in a placeholder here. You can enter in the body product, what you're going to paint the doors, and even the trim. Oops. All right. Now, obviously, you would put in real product names here. And then we're going to determine how many colors we're working with. So we want to be sure that the customer understands, you know, we're not going to use like a dozen different colors on this. So if you tap on project color allowances, you can pick how many colors you're going to work with. In this case, the customer wants one color for walls and another color for trim. So we're going to choose two color allowance. And in the notes field, we can add notes about the item, or we can even just make a note here about the colors that we're going to use. Okay. Then we can add some images here that are relevant to this particular item. Once again, I can pick from my gallery, or I can take a new picture if I'm on site with my camera. In this case, I'll pick the gallery, and we're going to, let's pick this photo this time, and this one, and that one. So I can add up to 4 images, and they will be seen here. Note, if you make a mistake, you add the wrong image, just tap the little trash can there, and that will remove it from the item. Next, we have process details. Process details are disclaimers that are added to the proposal to let the customer know what you will or will not do. So let's expand out preparation. So you review these and decide, do I want this to be added to the proposal? So let's say that we are going to scrape, we are going to prime, we'll take care of some caulking, we'll power wash, all right, so masking and cleanup. We're going to dispose of any trash. We'll cover things up so we don't get paint on their bushes, for example. Um, then we go into materials. So you just kind of go through each section and you flip the little slider to add these different options to your proposal. Then you can come here and just swipe down to collapse that. Those are saved as you go. You don't have to hit a save button for those. Now here you can see the amount that is being charged to your customer. So you have quoted $6,250 on this job, and the customer will pay $6,875. I'm going to click Save Item. So this will add this item to our project plan. So we can now see it here in the Items section. If we made a mistake and we want to start over with the item, we can delete it. Or if we just want to tweak something, we can click the Edit button here and go in, make whatever change that we want to make, save the change. So we have created our project. We have added details about the item that we're going to paint. We have added process details. Now we are ready to review our proposal. I'll tap here on the proposal button. The mobile browser on my phone has launched and has loaded the proposal. Here we can see the branding, so your logo and the name of your business. We have here our cover image with the name of the project, the client and decision maker names. Below there we have a unique identifier for the project. Then we have the job site address. We have our timeline information. Here is our marketing with the our photo and the description of our business. Then down here, we have the various items that we added. So you can see that we have the item, the total amount for that item, and then a breakout by line item, plus all of the color, the product names, etc., and our pictures that we added. Then here we can see the payment section where the customer will be able to click through and make their payment conveniently online. Then we have our scope of work section. These are the items that we enabled in process details. So these are essentially disclaimers that get added to our proposal. So once you have reviewed and you've made sure that everything is as you like it, then you can share it with your customer. And we do that through the native sharing feature within the web browser. In this case, I'm on Safari on an iPhone. I will click the share button here. And this will give me the option to send it via a text message or simply copy the link that I can then drop into an email and send to the customer. The customer will open the proposal and they'll view it. It will look just like this for them. And then they will come down into the items section. They will review. And if they approve, if they're okay with this, then they will click here to enable the approval slider. Then they are given the option now to pay their deposit. So in this case, it is 10% of the overall cost of the project. When they click here, it will take them through to where they can very conveniently make their payment online via Stripe. When that happens, and let's see, we need to go back here. So once the customer pays, then if we go back into PaintFlow, I'm sorry, if we go back here and click Done, then we will see that the project will move into an active status. Once the job reaches an active status, note that we no longer have an edit button. We no longer can click to add an item. So at this point, the proposal is locked and we can't make any changes. I can't make any changes to the item. Once your project goes into an active status and you're ready to begin work, the customer needs to make their initial payment. So in this case, the deposit has been paid. They now need to make their first payment. When they do, you're ready to put them onto your schedule. When the job is ready to start, you can generate a work order to send to your crew that's going out to the site to actually perform the work. The work order is identical to the proposal, but note that no pricing is listed, so your crew is not going to know what the customer is being charged for this. However, they will know exactly where to go, when to go, and what to do when they get there. So again, we would share using the browser's share function, just like we did for the sending the proposal to the client. We can send a text message with this link. Then whoever is on your crew can pull it up on their phone, and they'll have all of the information ready at their fingertips to get started with work. So what happens if something does need to change? Maybe the customer wants to add on some additional work. We handle that through change orders. So to create a new change order, you will click on the change order button, or rather tap on the button. Again, you'll be reminded about the upcharge. Then we can enter in the name for our change order. So let's see that, or let's say now that the customer wants to paint an outbuilding. There we go. Now, we do not have any sort of materials or anything like that here like we did for the main item. So it's really just the name, a description, a price, and some photos. So let's say here we're going to use the same paint and colors as the house to make the outbuilding match. And let's say that we're going to charge another $2,500 for this additional structure. So we have here the calculation with the processing fee. I'm going to tap here, pick an image from my gallery, or if I were on site, I could do it with my camera. And let's say that, do we have an outbuilding here? Let's see. All right, let's just say that it is this. All right, so we've added a photo, and I'm now going to click Create Change Order. Change order has been submitted, and we can see that here in this area. Note there was already another change order in here. And so now what you would do is you would direct the customer back to the proposal. It's going to be the exact same link as before. If we tap here on proposal, you'll see it's exactly the same with the exception of the addition of the change order. So now, in this particular case, the change order is now rolled up into the client's final payment. And so when the customer does make that, whoops, sorry guys, when the customer does make that final payment, your job will automatically move into a complete status. And that brings the life cycle of a proposal to an end. So thank you all very much for joining me today. I hope that you have found this demonstration to be informative and useful. If you have any questions, please visit our website at www.paintflowapp.com. There is a help and support section where you can find answers to most of your questions, and you can also reach out to us at any time for assistance by sending an email to help@paintflowapp.com. Have a wonderful day.